I think you could make an argument that this game does sort of embody an early version of what a lot of modern games do with their politics, though, because, like,
yes,
this is what all modern AAA games do, which is basically present a confusing, borderline nonsense political ideology, and as far as I can ascertain, it's seemingly on purpose. Some of it might not be, because modern video games are very complicated, there's multiple teams, there's not really strong creative lead, so there's lots of conflicting messages about what the game's trying to do or be about.
And this game changed a lot late in the game.
Oh yeah, this game changed constantly, and we'll get into that when we start seeing some of that stuff, but like...
Oh fuck, come on!
Yeah, number one, let's do...
Get ready for more of that!
But it's okay, because the game just, death doesn't matter. You just respawn and keep killing things.
Yeah, it's not even, there aren't even
The
Vita
respawn
chambers,
is
you just
insane.
magically respawn.
yeah.
It feels terrible.
It feels, combat is pointless, and there's so much of it. Sorry, Mumbles,
Hamster.
go ahead.
Did you play the Far Cry game that was about like American religion and
I
sexualism?
did, and I hated that one too, and I did a video on that. Please say you didn't write notes about that one.
I didn't read. I don't watch a lot of your videos because they're long, and I'm just dumb.
No, that's good. That's the right answer.
And sometimes I wish I didn't watch your videos. Like I watched that recent.
Oh no,
one
you
about...
drank the hot devil grillification potion. Oh no, Josh. Oh no.
I'm not gonna tell Camster what video I watched that I wish I didn't anymore.
So please continue.
The fucking COVID one with Fortnite and whatnot. That one like
Oh, no.
fucked me up pretty bad, Camster.
Yeah.
Just so you know. That one fucked me up. That one fucked me up as much as like Beginner's Guide fucked me up the first time I played it. Like I just was like, oh, okay. Guess I'll just go outside. Anyway, what did you think about Far Cry, the one about Americas?
It suffers the same problems. It is dedicated to saying nothing. It presents the illusion of saying something, much like this game, right? This game wants you to think it is staunchly against the racists, but it's not really against the racists.
Right.
It's maybe the other side's bad. Far Cry does something similar, but a little different. Far Cry 5 says that there's a crazy cult of fundamentalist Christians, but they're not exactly Christians, and you can't really blame Christianity for this. They're just kind of crazy. And also, like, turns out the mountain kind of people that live out in the mountains of Montana, the preppers, they might be onto something. They've got good supplies. They've got all these little fortresses that you could use. They're not bad people. It's just the crazy people that are in this cult that are bad, that are using literal hallucinogens from this magic plant to turn people into zombies. It's not any actual cult or any actual, underlying Christian ideology. Just like this game, this game is actually almost more explicit in its condemnation of Christian evangelicalism than Far Cry 5 ever is. This game
This game does have a point about one thing. Like, we should be clear about that. Like, when it comes to, like, a very specific religious practice and, like, philosophical argument, which is common to many forms of Christianity, like, this game does have a very specific and pretty well articulated point.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is also, it's weirdly, they go so much more out on a limb with that than they do with, like, a lot of the stuff that is more obviously unpopular.
I think they might have gotten into the weeds a little bit too, because they probably were like, okay, logically, there's got to be people who are not as well off as everybody else and have to do the dirty jobs. And then they just kept getting into like the sci-fi weeds. Like, I'm sure when you try to build like a fantasy land or a science fiction land and you go too far, like without allowing some stuff to just be black holes, like then that becomes an issue. And then you just have half the game of shit that is awful. Oh god, are we gonna go in there? Is the thing happening now?
I don't think this is that
the thing
part yet.
No,
Okay.
no,
God,
that doesn't
I
happen for a
can't.
while. No, we have to do a lot before we get there. Well, not a lot, but it's like
This is
about a
the-
third of the way through the game.
This is the story of how Comstock and his magical floating Disneyland seceded from the United States because they were not radical and bloodthirsty enough.
Gee, I wonder what... Jesus Christ.
I mean, like, that's the thing, if you have these ideas and you're doing something cool with them, I'm probably going to want to play or watch that. And I don't regret having played and watched this, because there are some aspects of it that you can kind of talk about, like, oh yeah, like, you know, how this seems really weird, well, this is actually based on this and this and this. But, like,
Right.
when it goes beyond that aesthetic level, it often doesn't really have a, like, it doesn't really come together into kind of a cohesive thing, and there's a lot of space in this game that is devoted to gestures at ideas larger than it really ends up exploring.
Yeah, Josh, get you some DLC.
Oh, man.
The game should have either been you are in this society as it is functioning and you have to get through it and do a mission, a big secret mission or whatever, and like have it more of like almost not role playing, but like, I don't know, stealth based or something. Or it should have just been a rip and tear like shooter. It should have been one or the other. And it's like, it almost feels like it wants to be one, but it has to hold on to the other one.
Right. Actually, that's a funny point. I don't know if you remember this or like where I discussed this, but like not around the time this game came out, I actually was like, you know, my then girlfriend and now wife were kind of playing a lot of games together and kind of sharing things that like the other things would be interesting but that were not on our radars. And I actually had her play Bioshock, which she'd never played before. And she actually got to experience playing Bioshock as someone who did not know what it was about. And so, like, she was one of probably the only people in the world who played that game who were in the bathysphere approaching Rapture, who were expecting it to be, like, a role-playing game about exploring this underwater city.
Oh, God.
And then, like, just
no.
the door opens and it's just, like, this bloody hellscape, and she's like, oh, Jesus.
And I think everyone who has played the first Bioshock game has yearned to like exist in these worlds before they go to hell. And I feel like they tried to do that with this game and they just could not do it. I mean, even the DLC for this game, they try to do it. It's just this thing that people want.
They do it in Rapture in the DLC for this game, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
When I smell silver, so I say, Father, you're
But part of the idea of these games is that these places are already hell, right? They are hell in waiting. As soon as, like, the disasters that befall these places are the natural outgrowth of these places as they exist, right? The fall of Rapture and the fall of Columbia are inevitable.
I actually have an interesting point to make. I think what might be an interesting point to explore. So, here's the thing. This game wasn't very good. That's kind of what we're getting at. We're kind of getting at how people didn't really, this is interesting, sorry, didn't really figure that out until a little while after it came out. But I think that there's other reasons why people don't fucking talk about this game ever unless they're like in the industry and they want to discuss it in the context of whatever failures it may have had.
Yeah, this game is very inside baseball. Holy fuck, it is.
Very inside baseball. Nobody just like casually chats about like, oh man, all those classic games that came out, like, you know, Bioshock Infinite. And I mean, on the one hand, like, you don't want to say that a game deserves a spot there just because of what it is or how many people played it, but it does feel like this game got memory hold more than you would expect.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about how that wasn't the case for Burial at Sea so much. Like, I actually do see people talk about or, like, want to discuss or, like, do fan art of Burial at Sea still.
That's not
like, it still appears here and there, much more than this game does. And I was trying to put my finger on why, and I actually think that part of that is because, like, the way this game deals with its subject is genuinely too uncomfortable to really, like, meme or kind of revisit on a superficial level.
100%, yeah.
Like, Bioshock is about, well, okay, I mean, I was about to say Bioshock is about objectivism, but this is the wrong crowd to say that. We would get into the weeds on, well, is it really? I think I'm bullish on the idea that Bioshock is about objectivism more than I've heard some of you express in the past. But, like, the way that is aesthetically explored through Bioshock 1 is a lot, like, less just gruesome and unpleasant than the way this game is about, quote-unquote, the things that it is about, quote-unquote.
So, the thing about Burial at Sea is that at the time, I don't know about other people, but I was really starved for a first-person game that had a female protagonist, because it really wasn't happening back then. It was mostly, you had to, like, beg for it, or you would have it for, like, a half second. You'd get to play as a girl for, like, a little bit, but it's back to the guys now. And I think that was part of the reason why it was so memorable, because it was one of the first-person games that was like, the whole time pretty much you're playing as Elizabeth, and that was right. The other thing is that it's like a genuinely good DLC, and it has like a great story, it has a cool ending, it's kind of sad, like it's all of the things that like I think this game wishes that it could do, you know.
Has cool eye torture.
Yeah, no, the
That's
DLC for this
scene that
is genuinely pretty
Well,
good.
holy shit,
I'm
we
joking.
did Burial at Sea, didn't we?
Did we?
Did we? Was I there for that?
No?
I think I remember talking about anglerfish with you.
Did.
Or, like,
We
blobfish or something.
did.
Did we do it as like a
That's right,
stream?
No.
I don't fucking know.
No, it was like a one-off thing. Because I remember I was lecturing people about anglefish. Yeah, angler.
I think Rutskarn did hit on something, though, in terms of the way this game presents, like, Bioshock is about the failure of sort of that libertarianism mindset in a way that is cartoony and simple. Like, what if some crazy rich Disney asshole decided to build a city underground and then let capitalism run so amok, we created genetic monsters. Oops,
Right.
and now you gotta kill them.
But the cartoon
like,
version of this is the real version of it.
Yes, the cartoon version of this is the real version of this, and it's almost like, imagine a version of Bioshock that doesn't involve a cartoon Walt Disney guy making a creature, or making an underwater city where genetic modification makes creatures that want to kill you and you have to kill them back, but instead, like, imagine a version of that libertarian city where, like, you have to, like, quietly decide whether, like, to take your son off life support because you can't afford the medical bill because that's how capitalism works in Rapture, and then you go nuts and decide to shoot everybody. Like, that would be the equivalent here, and that's a lot harder to joke about, right? That you can't make lol internet memes out of something that is the reality of how fucked up that ideology is. And this game is all about the reality of how fucked up the ideology is, even as it hides the real cost, right? Like, realize we have not seen anything from any person of color's perspective yet, and when we do, it's a shit perspective. But like, even with this cartoonish, like, white guy looking at this being like, wow, this is pretty messed up, sir, it's still horrific.
Yeah.
Slightly off topic, and to lighten the mood a little bit, I remember why I liked the combat of this game, and it reminds me of playing Pyro in TF2 on a 2-fort server, like 24-hour 2-fort server.
And that's why I hate it, because
yeah,
it's just harassing. You can only harass.
Yes.
There's no actual combat.
exactly. It's jumping on people and then like beating them up a little bit and then running away and then hoping that maybe you can light them on fire at some point. Yeah.
Once
I
in
hate
2009, I was kind of new to Team Fortress 2, and I joined a server, an arena server as a pyro, and I ran down a side corridor and accidentally ran into the entire enemy team, and they weren't paying attention, and I killed all 5 of them.
Yes.
And someone in the chat said pro pyro, and I quit because that had to be the last thing I ever did in that server.
So
Because I sure she was not doing it again.
That is the lifespan of any pirate.
Yeah.
this is not that museum. This is the crows. This is what Mumbles was talking about.
This is the crows. The crows are cool.
This ain't super racist.
Just move
So
past
here's
it.
the one
Racist.
thing about here's the one thing about this is that, okay, if I was going to do this, I really would not want to. If I was put in some kind of prison work release where making this game was like what I had to do, the thing about like American exceptionalist cult ideology is that it gets really weird.
Oh, so
And I think that
weird.
this game doesn't actually explore that as much as you think. Like, 'cause we're talking about how it's like, we're talking about how like, oh, you know, it like kind of shows how like bizarre and out there it is, but it's also strange.
I mean, we did just pass a statue honoring John Wilkes Booth. I just want to point that
Right.
out. Like, that's how weird we are.
But it's not even just that. It's just like,
I was just gonna say, can someone please explain to me what this club is about? I never knew while I was playing the game, and I don't get it. What is their deal? Why is it so gross in here?
I think it's just like a good old boys, like, white person guffaw club.
Yeah.
Just like, this is basically like clan headquarters.
But why are there rotting fruit and like bird shit everywhere? Like, that doesn't make any sense. to me.
That's what I'm talking about the weird shit. And this is like the one time where it goes there. Because like racists and like racist cults are so bizarre, and they like get so far into the fucking weeds. Like even like in contemporary, you read about like what the Proud Boys get up to, and it's just like there's so much bizarre shit that goes on when you're like pushing yourself into this like cockamamie ideology. Like this painting, if you had shit like this in the game, I would have no objection. I have no objections to this picture because this is like, I think that this is like a good, not crude way of expressing how bizarre this shit is.
100%. Why not have your artist pay people to do weird shit like this? It's so weird and stupid.
But that's what Rutskarn's talking about, is it's weird and stupid to us because it's just absurd on its face. But this is what these people would have done. Like, this is how crazy it gets. Like, the evil Satan of the guy that wanted to bring equality to the races versus John Wilkes Booth, our angelic hero. Like, it does go there.
What I'm saying is, instead of having people draw really offensive racial stuff from like the 20s, how about instead you have people draw big old paintings of Abraham Lincoln with horns and some dude shooting him?
So Josh, I don't know how much you usually pay attention to our YouTube thumbnails, but we better be really fucking careful with these episodes, what ends up there.
Oh
Yeah,
I'm just gonna do a bumper thumbnail. It's just Bioshock Infinite and then a spoiler warning thing.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I like how there's a little they got a synchronized dance going on.
Oh, they've got a little jazzercise.
Yeah, so like these guys are based on the clan, and like it's not an exaggeration of how weird and creepy and bizarre like clan shit is. Because like again, you know, obviously clan just are fundamentally evil and have a bizarre ideology, but like even past that, it's wrapped up in so much of this invented phony mysticism.
Okay, but like this is a town where everything looks nice and everything is clean, and like there's this huge building that everyone can see that is right all there, and as soon as you walk in, it's disgusting. Like, I just don't get it.
I honestly...
You would expect that to be like in the back room, yeah. I guess we're talking about like hyper-realism, but still, you're right, it doesn't really jive
I'm
with
just
the
saying,
rest of the story
from like a dissonance or whatever the word is, like, how are you walking through Disneyland, and then all of a sudden you walk into like Poopville? Like, literal poop everywhere.
That.
They wanted it to be creepy is the answer. Wow, his head just popped.
Oh, he did a Fallout death there and turned into a box. He turned into a box.
Oh my god.
Can't make it so you annihilate all that useless loot on them.
See, the problem is the absurdity of the gameplay masks the absurdity of the reality that they're trying to present, right? Like, when you are shooting people so that their heads pop and then they turn into a pile of ash and a box full of loot, having the Abraham Lincoln is the devil versus John Wilkes Booth with the angelic backing light really loses its efficacy, right? Because like you're already in crazy land.
Yeah.
And so
can we not look at that?
Yeah, let's look somewhere else.
Yeah, it's like, you know, you could find shit like that all over the US today.
Remember, this is a game that had its art lifted by literal alt-right people not that long ago.
Yes. That is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This art got reappropriated.
I would
Jeez.
quit video games if I drew some. First of all, I wouldn't draw it. But let's say I drew this thinking, oh, well, no one's going to notice it that. But it gets taken by some people and used earnestly. Like, oh my God.
Well, there's a problem with like parody, right? Like, Starship Troopers is a like parody of fascism. You're not really supposed to root for the quote-unquote good guys, but also fascists love Starship Troopers.
Is that the one with Buzz
Neil
Lightyear?
Patrick
in it?
Harris. No, that's Galaxy Quest.
What's Galaxy Quest? That's a nice one.
Yeah, no, not.
It'd be really fucking weird if Galaxy Quest was somehow about fascism.
I was gonna say
Fascists
I didn't
love
pick
Galaxy
that up.
Quest.
I didn't pick that one up, Josh. But if you
That sounds like the kind of YouTube video I end up on, like in autoplay while I'm trying to do something, and I'm just listening to it, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Who's this?
I mean, Tim Allen is a creepy weirdo, but I don't think he's a fascist creepy weirdo, so...
I'm just trying to think of the like weirdest movie I could say that like, you know what the alt-right's really into actually? We're back at Dinosaur Story. That film is real big on the
Oh
alt-right.
no.
Oh my God, I just had the worst deja vu. I feel like I've definitely lived this before. Have we had this conversation before? Holy shit.
I don't know. I
cannot
only know like 4
understand
movies,
how the
so
fuck
I
we could have had this
probably
conversation before.
referenced We're Back at Dinosaur Story before.
Oh no, I've been here before.
There's only now 2 internet content YouTube creators who've referenced the movie We're Back, Dinosaur Story, Chris. You're the second person. Do you know who the first one was?
Oh my
Who?
God, who?
Do you not know?
I do not.
It would be
Nostalgia
one
critic?
Douglas Walker.
God damn it!
You're like him. You're just like him.
I'm a lame white guy from the Midwest. This sucks.
This
You
week
guys
of
are
episodes.
exactly the same.
This week of episodes ends as it begins. Bullying Chris. Oh wait, hang on. Are we actually coming towards the end of the episodes here?
yeah, actually, we're a little over time. I didn't really
All right.
notice.
Remember how we did? Remember how last year, or whatever, we did Fallout 76, and during the stream I was like, "It's my birthday."
Oh no!
Today is
Happy birthday.
Today is officially the last day of my 20s, and this is what I was doing.
No.
Can't get old, Rutskarn. That's not allowed.
You know what I'm doing after this? I'm fucking working.
No.
Oh my god.
Oh my God. This
I'm gonna
isn't
send you
fair
that-
to me.
I'm sending him the Bo Burnham turning 30.
Oh boy, I listened to that 2 days ago. That wasn't a thing at all.
Oh god. Oh no, that's
You know
gotta
what
be the
makes
worst
me
time to
feel
see it.
Watching Camster's video about Fortnite during the pandemic and then watching Bo Burnham. That's what I love.
Oh no! They both end with a fucking door metaphor. What the hell was up with that? Oh god. Don't get old, kids, and don't be in a pandemic.
Avoid
Don't.
aging at all costs.